Came out earlier today that they have now been able to recover all of the remains of the 10 heroes aboard the John S. McCain. It is a difficult thing doing these videos. We talk about these events from places where we are not in harm's way, and to put the face to the event really sends it home, because now with the issue of the Fitzgerald, the issue of the McCain, the sailor lost aboard the Statham, the sailor lost aboard the Normandy, the soldiers from the Black Hawk, the Marines from the Osprey, more soldiers aboard the tanker in Mississippi. You know, people don't have loved ones, and we always have to remember that and keep that in mind when we do our commentating and when we speak about these things, that we maintain a level of respect, and I'm going to do my very best to maintain that. I have never maintained anything other than that. These young men, I don't care if they were cooks, fire controlmen, maintenance guys, I don't care what they were doing, they're all heroes. Every single one of them. In a recent video, a couple back, I had asked the question if the U.S. Navy had a list of close calls where perhaps there had been an attempt to intercept one of our vessels, that the vessel was able to mitigate and not have it happen. So I dug in as much as I could to find out what had been at least been reported on, and I found a very, very strange correlation. And I don't know if the two things really have much to do with each other, but I cannot imagine, now that we've established that in that region there are folks attempting to create a dirty bomb. The correlation goes back to this. Operation Tomodachi. This was following the disaster in Japan after the earthquake, the Fukushima plant. The USS Ronald Reagan and a bunch of other vessels assisted in the search and rescue efforts after that, and there have been quite a few sailors aboard the Reagan that have developed all sorts of health issues, and have recently, a court has ruled that they have the ability to sue TEPCO to get damages back for those medical issues. But in this research, I found something very, very interesting. Down here, it shows a list of all of the vessels that were involved in this effort. And at the bottom, the list is almost like something you couldn't even make up. Now, we have the Ronald Reagan, but we have the Chancellorsville, the Cowpens, the USS Shiloh, the USS John McCain, the USS Fitzgerald, the USS McCampbell, Preble, Mustin, Germantown, Tortuga, Harper's Ferry, Essex, Blue Ridge, and Safeguard. Now, that's a long list, but we know the issue with the Shiloh, with the kid going missing and magically reappearing. We know the issue with the Fitzgerald. We know the issue with the McCain. But a few years ago, a drone got piloted right into the side of the Chancellorsville. Let's see if I can pronounce that properly. This is the Tycho class Cowpens, and this is from 2012. Then we have this issue here with the Mustin. And we have this issue with the Germantown. Now, I know the last two here aren't physical issues, but it goes to something else that might be going on. Here's the Tortuga. Ship hit a buoy. So you have to ask yourself something, folks. What are the odds of the Navy putting together a group of ships that go do this relief mission, and then after that, we have, let's see here, we have the Tortuga issue, we have the Cowpens issue, we have the Chancellorsville, we have the McCain, we have the Fitzgerald, and we have a very serious issue with the Shiloh. And that really has been buried, that story. It's been made into kind of a joke, but it's a very, very serious thing. You do, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, the commanders aboard the McCain and Fitzgerald are not facing, at least so far on the McCain, they're not, definitely not on the Fitzgerald, any kind of judicial actions. In the case of the Fitzgerald, 7 were killed. And they are dealing with it like they are dealing with issues of misbehavior or poor judgment. And then we have 10 here, and I have heard of no one saying anything about any kind of judicial action. But the kid who is cooling his heels in the brig from the Shiloh is. And if anybody remembers the reporting I did about the sailors in Marines in South America, the colonel and 2 majors, who were only charged with losing government property and soliciting prostitutes, they're being dishonorably discharged and facing judicial action. So they're being dealt with more severely than the captains of these 2 vessels. Think about that for a minute. Why would the Navy see those 2 issues as much more serious than an issue that caused, in the case of the Fitzgerald, it's a maybe that ship is going to be recoverable. Tens of, if not hundreds of millions of dollars in damage. And as far as this issue aboard the McCain, I am looking into why this took 7 days to get down there when it only took only 2 with the Fitz. I don't have enough information on it yet, but there might be some radiation issue that they needed something to cool off down there before they could go get them. But I'm going to cover that in another video. But we have some place that all of these ships go back to. Every single one of them goes back to Operation Tomodachi. Now I know it's like, well, that's just because they're the 7th Fleet. You don't hear about this in the 4th Fleet. We got all sorts. We got 4 destroyers sitting up here at Mayport. Don't hear any issues about that over here. You don't hear any issues about this. You saw they have the one little issue with the Iranian ship that the Mayhan, the USS Mayhan, 4 or 5 years ago, had a nose-to-nose with a Iranian vessel, but no damage done. Just a lot of heated rhetoric, but it's a strange thing that we can trace almost all of these ships back to this event. So there may be something to this. We haven't seen much as far as anybody going after the Ronald Reagan or the Essex. They're both aircraft carriers. But the Blue Ridge was involved with the issue of the Germantown, with the guy who was selling. Let's see if I can cover that here real quick. Well, this guy was actually selling prostitutes. The Muston, they were selling secrets. And the former captain of the destroyer USS Muston, Navy special agent, and a Singapore-based defense contractor have been arrested in connection with an alleged bribery scheme to swap classified ship information for luxury travel and prostitutes. And that's September of 2013. So who knows what that could have led to? Who knew what and how to do what? Just too many coincidences, folks. Too many different things all happening right in the same area. Same kind of ship. I mean, these are Tycho. A couple of these are Tychos. A couple of these are Arleigh Burke-class destroyers. But they both have the same mission. So something to think about. Something to keep your eye on for sure. Looks like the 7th Fleet has a much bigger problem than maybe we initially knew. So, and it cost these 10 men their lives. So, in a previous video I had referred to sailors as kids, and My girls are 27 and 24, so when I hear about a 20 or 21-year-old sailor, it's just kind of a thing. You know, if you're a parent, you'll understand. But definitely all men, every single one of them. Like, share, subscribe, and we will see you next time. Thank you.